What's up, guys, and welcome back to the doctor's office. I am Dr. Kori Knight, here to give you proper diagnosis and prognosis and everything comics and comic book characters. It's been a minute, right? I went to BlurredCon, had a good time, and now we're back and on to the work. So y'all remember, I don't know if you ever actually, if like a lot of y'all actually watch Family Guy, but if you have watched Family Guy, y'all remember when Joe got his legs and started acting brand fucking new? Okay, that attitude, but it's Charles Xavier. Now, Charles has always been a fucking psychopath to me, and I keep saying that to people. Everybody's like, oh no, Charles isn't really like that, and Charles really is looking out for the best of everybody. When Charles got them fucking legs, he started acting like the Maker on 1610. And this is no different. So, we are on storm number 7 or storm number 6. One of the two. It'll pop up right there. And it's part 3 of X-Manhunt. So I'm going to tell you what happens in part 1 and part 2 of X-Manhunt if you have not seen the shorts about them. So, X-Manhunt started with the Uncanny X-Men when chick from Grey Malkin called Rogue because they were getting readings that he was dying. And he was connected with his daughter, Xandra, and they were trying to kill her. They had attacked her and Deathbird. I can't really tell if Deathbird is dead there. She's probably just, like, unconscious. But they were arresting Xandra for, like, fucking various space crimes. And she was in contact with her father, and her, like, Charles then broke out of the prison. So, the warden, I can't remember her name, the warden for Grey Malkin, she called Rogue, like, cause, you know, she got Rogue on speed dial now. It was like, you need to get over here ASAP. And so she tells her, she's like, all right, so he's dying. He has a tumor, it's pressing up on his brain. He tripping. Like, I need you to go talk to him and do something. So he's tripping because he has a tumor, he's dying, and he thinks that the original X-Men are standing in front of him. You can tell because the picture that's right there, it's fucking Angel, Beast, Cyclops, Jean, they have Nightcrawler as Iceman. So, like, this particular group of people is who he thinks is standing in front of him, and it's really not. It's Rogue, it's Nightcrawler, it's Gambit, Jubilee, and it's Logan. And so he's very much hallucinating. He beats the shit out of them and he leaves. So he has now escaped Grey Malkin prison. Okay. Moving forward to NYX, which would be part 2. In NYX, he goes to Enole and Miss Marvel because he's trying to get the last Krakoan seed, because he's trying to bring Krakoa back. That's what he tells them. So they go after Mojo, that interdimensional demon. They go after him because he has that seed. And so when the 3 of them get there, Charles leaves them to be attacked by Doombots, because it's also happening at the same time as One World Under Doom, and there are Doombots protecting that area. And so he leaves them. They get through the Doombots. He leaves them to be attacked by other Doombots and Mojo, as well as whatever mutant is there with him who actually is in possession of the fucking seed. So then he tells the Doombots, he gives the Doombots instructions, and instead of going to get the seed, which is what he said they were going for, he went to go fetch that fucking helmet of his. Because he knew where it was. And, you know, at first I was like, I kind of feel sorry because he's dying and he tripping. When we got to right here where he tricked the 2 youngest members so that he could get that damn helmet, and they still don't have the seed, because the seed that Enole got almost being killed isn't even real. So then here we go into Storm, where she is able to interchange herself between Eternal Storm and just like her normal self. And her sanctuary, she brings all the animals in, and her sanctuary turns into essentially a battleship called Thundercloud. And you know, he's talking to her, he shows up at her door and he's like, you know, I escaped, I did. He's like, but you know, I really do need your help. And she starts talking about the fact that she's a registered hero in several different countries. She has diplomatic immunity and she's an Avenger and all this other stuff. And if she is known to harbor a fugitive and like somebody who is a danger to humanity, all of that stuff could be stripped away. And he's like, you know, I've never really known you to be so political. He was like, the Storm I knew wouldn't even give a damn. And she was like, and the Charles Xavier I knew wouldn't be fucking criminal escaping from prison. We all disappoint somebody sometimes. Tell him again. Tell him again. Because she already knows that Charles Xavier is full of shit. And so at first she was like, oh, you know, I've contacted the Avengers and like we've talked about this whole situation, you know, and I totally understand where you're coming from. I totally get it, you know, whatever. They make jokes about, you know, Tony makes jokes about the shit. And he's like, you know, don't play with me. I know you haven't contacted the Avengers and told them shit. She was like, you're correct. And she's like, you know why I went through so much trouble giving you a warm meal, Charles? Because whenever there's a manhunt for a mutant, 99% of the time, the bitches die during said manhunt. So this could be your last meal. What the fuck do you want? And he's like, all right, cool. So she's like, you know, and there's no more resurrections. The dead stay dead, okay? What do you want? Why are you in my face? So he's like, all right, cool. So look, he's like, I want to do one more resurrection. Just one more. And he's basically talking about like, he doesn't say like a specific person, but I honestly think that he's just trying to bring back Krakoa, period, because Krakoa technically died. So I think he's trying to just resurrect Krakoa, period. And so Maggot is also on the ship with her. Like she's given him sanctuary there too. So he starts talking about how they're going to be sending people who have these weapons designed specifically for him and how it's all about to be bad. Well, the weapons that they sent aren't really the weapons that they were thinking, but Storm knew that it was probably going to be her brothers and her sisters. So the X-Men show up. And he's like, he steps in there, you know, Cyclops steps in there and is like, stand down. She said, no, hell no. He's like, I know he's probably giving you some sob story. And the fact is that he hasn't. I don't think he's lying when he says he wants to resurrect Krakoa. However, this whole situation, and it's starting with Deathbird and Xandra, is so odd because the only people that know what's going on in his head right now is Rogue and the Uncanny X-Men. Which the Uncanny X-Men and the X-Men aren't getting along ever since that whole raid on Grey Malkin situation. Anyway, when Rogue wanted to walk out of there with Charles and Scott told her ass fucking out. Now, she is armored up. Armored to the teeth, baby. And Maggot armors up as well and Charles puts on his helmet. Now, the mistake that Cyclops made is coming into her sanctuary thinking that she was going to take it easy on them because of where they are located. She said, you keep underestimating me and I'm not really sure why. And I don't like that he does that either. He really called her as weak and soft on her own fucking ship. She said, I got your weak and soft. So those two start fighting. He's like, he's like, she's not going to destroy the sanctuary. She's not going to release her full power. Quit underestimating my girl. So Juggernaut and Maggot were going at each other. Beast was sent elsewhere to go shut the ship down. Idiot, Magic, and Psylocke were tasked with keeping Charles busy. Mainly Psylocke and Quentin Quire, actually. He was supposed to block Charles's thoughts from getting in there. So everybody's kind of just fighting. And the main fight is between Cyclops and Storm right now. Now, in this fight here, she's like, you know, you underestimated me. You brought no weapons. You set no traps. This is my shit. And so she then starts turning into Eternal Storm. And is like, now it's my turn. When her blast gets to his eyes, Charles is like, oh shit. What have I done? Yeah. Everybody is in absolute fucking shock at this point. And so, now you ain't got no eyes. She froze the fuck out of his eyes. And then kicked all of them out. And so while she then like throws up that demon that she had swallowed the book before and feeds it to Maggot because Juggernaut ripped Maggot's arm off. Feeds it to one of Maggot's maggots and is like, become my Omega Maggot. I was like, oh, damn. While that is happening, Juggernaut's still on the ship and she's like, oh, you're still here? We'll handle that. So she uses her swords and pierces his body, gets his ass the fuck out of there, or well, pins him down actually. And then Beast is trying to shut down the ship, but they lose contact with Beast when Charles shows up behind him. And that's where it is. That's where it stops. Charles Xavier is a menace to society. I keep saying that and people don't believe me. The fact that you came to Storm and put her in the middle, and I said the last time I did the Storm comic that he was going to show up and he was going to put her in the middle of all these groups. So the thing is that, again, only Rogue and them know what's happening with his head. Technically. But then it's like he lied to the kids and got them almost nearly killed. And even at that point, Mojo's like narrating the story because he's like interdimensional storyteller demon is what he calls himself. And he's like, you didn't even give a damn. You didn't give a damn about them. You came for that fucking helmet. And he did. He lied to them to get a helmet. Almost got them killed for a piece of hardware. And I said, Charles was crazy to begin with when he was still in that damn wheelchair. When he got them legs, and I understand where Scott is coming from. I do. But what you don't do is condescend and belittle Storm, of all people, because you're mad. That's what you don't do. As always, the art is absolutely fantastic. This Manhunt story is very interesting. I am going to do the X-Men one also because I have a few words, because the way that they treat Storm in the X-Men comic that follows up with part 4 for this X-Manhunt story, I don't like that. I don't like how they keep talking to her or disrespecting her. And Idiot is just like, I don't think that was Storm up there. It wasn't. It was Eternity. It was definitely Eternity. But the difference between this situation with Eternity and Eternal Storm and the situation with Dr. Doom is Dr. Doom, when Eternal Storm came to fight him, Dr. Doom was sitting at the table eating. He wasn't armed. He wasn't armed. He wasn't attacking her. Y'all came in there and attacked her. At any other point in time, she would just let that shit go. But y'all attacked her. So, But I did enjoy this story. It being simultaneous with the One World Under Doom story is very interesting. She's also going to end up running into the Thunder Gods. She did mention the Thunder Gods that are in like a battle currently as well at the very beginning. So I'm interested to see where they're going to continue to take her, because she's badass right now. Like, she said, you're not about to come in this bitch and underestimate me, a man? Never. But that is it for this episode of the doctor's office, and I will see you guys at your next checkup.